I believe that it does not make sense for the Israeli leaders to think that the issue of Palestine is a security issue. And if you believe that way, then you think that you can eliminate it by power, by more army, by more tanks, more weapons. They tried that over the years. It did not accomplish the objective that they want. They couldn't negate the existence of the Palestinian people, nor their right to self-determination and to statehood. What was not tried is to implement the global consensus on the two-state solution. Let's try it. Let's end the occupation. Let us have two states living in peace and harmony next to each other to open new chapters of the relationship between the two people, which is different than the relationship of resentment and negations of the other, and legislating in the Knesset that only Jews have the right to exercise self-determination between the river and the sea, which means that the Palestinian people do not exist.
You fully recognize the right of Israel to exist as a sovereign state.
And in fact, late Chairman Arafat signed on that in front of the White House during the time of President Bill Clinton.
And I'm saying that because I want to make sure the audience understands that you represent the Palestinian Authority and that you have no connection with authority with Hamas in Gaza.
I represent the state of Palestine at the United Nations.
Of which Hamas plays no role.
When I say I represent the state of Palestine many things and everything, all the Palestinian people at the United Nations. So I defend the rights of all of the Palestinian people at the United Nations. I do not defend narrow platform or rights of a political party. This is the same thing my colleague, Linda Greenfield, who is the ambassador, representative of the United States at the United Nations. She does not represent a group or a party. She represents the United States of America. I'm similar to her in representing the state of Palestine.
I appreciate that. And I just want to make sure I give you the opportunity, because you're here talking as a representative of the Palestinians, the Palestinian people, and you are discussing the context, the background, why we're in the situation we are right now.
Right.
I want to make sure the audience understands that you in no way support or align yourself with the terrorist activities on October 7th. You wholeheartedly condemn those killings.
I said in the Security Council many times, and I challenged the Israeli ambassador to say what I say. I said I condemned the killing of innocent people regardless of their religion, ethnicity, or national belonging. Innocent people, innocent civilians, should not be exposed to any harm. This is international law. Can you say the same thing that I am saying? He never said that.
And the hostages that have been taken since should be released, as the Secretary General of the UN has called for many, many times. You would certainly support that.
Not only that, but we legislated resolutions in the Security Council, in the General Assembly calling for that, including the last resolution in which it calls not only for the release of the hostages, but also release of Palestinian prisoners.
So talk about any influence you feel like your government has over what Hamas does and does not do with the occupation of Gaza.
Well, I think that the United States is very actively involved in negotiating with Hamas through Qatar and Egypt. And Israel is negotiating with them through Qatar and Egypt. And you know that they reach some progress. They are still working on other issues. So those people of influence are engaged in this kind of process. Now, for us internally, we need to put our house in order with all political groups. Once upon a time, Hamas won the election in the year 2006. And in a democratic way, if a political party, regardless whether you like them or not, win an election, then they're entitled, to run the government of that state. And we will see whether the people will be, happy with them or not.
When you're fighting a war that is specifically not about the destruction of the Palestinian people, but is specifically about the destruction of that terrorist organization that, again, won a democratic election. You're absolutely right about that. But it certainly makes the international community feel very differently about the outcome.
But may I ask you a question?
Sure.
If that is the characterization, as you describe it,
Yes.
then why are they negotiating with them through intermediaries? Why would they, in the last resolution submitted by the United States in the Security Council, appealing to Hamas?
To Hamas, yes.
Okay. So, and also...
You're saying that you can't negotiate with a terrorist organization? I mean, it's happened many, many times historically, so...
You can characterize anyone as you wish. Once upon a time, and in fact,
yes,
until this moment, as we speak,
yes,
in spite of the fact that Yasser Arafat and Rabin signed the Oslo Agreement in front of the White House,
that's right,
in the presence of President Bill Clinton, do you know that the PLO, which is the major grouping of political forces that leads the Palestinian state
right,
and leads the Palestinian Authority, is considered by the Congress as a terrorist organization? Does that make sense?
I'm not suggesting that your Palestinian Authority is not committed to peace, but I am suggesting that when you're criticizing the Israeli government as wanting to continue a war, we also recognize that Hamas has shown very little interest in ending the war.
Listen, you judge us, you judge me by my conduct at the United Nations. And you judge the other side and their representative by their conduct at the United Nations. And the jury is our colleagues, ambassadors of other states. When we have 149 states recognizing the state of Palestine and the representative of the state of Israel cursing everyone, accusing them of being anti-Jewish and anti-Semitic, what should you believe? My rhetoric or his rhetoric or the judgment of the jury of our colleagues who are from all corners of the globe? Isn't it, enough for people to see, for example, in hundreds of universities in the United States, led by elite schools such as Columbia, demonstrating Jewish students, Palestinian students, Arab students, Muslim students, black students, brown students, all kinds of students for justice. This is a very elitist school in which if you have a record, you might jeopardize your job as a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, but yet they are committed to justice to the point that they are willing to do that. Isn't there something different in the air? Shouldn't we be listening to them? Shouldn't we believe that they are doing that because they're genuinely committed to the principles of democracy and justice? And therefore, to change our conduct and views based on these new realities, instead of being fixated in the views of realities of the past.